You mean her best friend Tochi, who had been by her side throughout this madness period, is the cause of her problem? Hey, whoa, Che! This girl has not left her side since she ran mad. She has been taking care of her, he exclaimed. Long ago, in a small village in the eastern part of Nigeria, lived two best friends, Ada and Tochi. They were well known in the village, and it was rare to see Ada without Tochi. Their love and bond were inseparable, and everyone admired their friendship. Ada, the only female child of her parents, had two older brothers who cared for her like a princess. They would do everything to protect her from bullies or any form of assault. She was well loved by all, and the affection and care she received extended to her best friend Tochi. Tochi was also the only child of her mother, having lost her father while she was still very little. As the only child, her mother did everything within her capacity to make her feel loved and happy. When she realized that Tochi enjoyed the company of her best friend Ada more than staying at home with her, she often allowed her to stay with Ada and even sleep over. Sometimes, Tochi stayed in Ada's house for weeks or months before returning home to her mother. The bond between these two was so strong and seemed unbreakable by anyone. In fact, Ada's family had taken Tochi as their second daughter. Ada was fortunate to be loved and favored wherever she went. When they went on errands together, Ada often received tips and, out of love, would share them with her best friend. Ada and Tochi were indeed the best of friends. One morning, while Ada was returning from the market, she met a young and handsome man named Obiora. Obiora was intelligent and smart, having just returned from the city to visit his family in the village. He looked clean and wealthy. He was a diligent man and a goal-getter. When he saw Ada, he felt a flicker of emotion in his eyes. His heart drew to her, and he wasted no time expressing his feelings. "Hello, beautiful. How are you doing?" Obiora greeted. Ada smiled sheepishly and answered him, "I'm fine, thank you." "My name is Obiora. I just came from the city yesterday to see my parents, and I actually love you." Ada, feeling flattered, replied, "Oh, just like that?" "Yes, I would like to know more about you before I leave for the city in the next 7 days." "Okay, I'm Ada. What else do you want to know?" Ada responded. They both chuckled. "That's just your name," Obiora laughed. "I want to know more about you, not just your name." Ada and Obiora moved under a tree and started a deeper discussion, trying to know one another and communicate better before they parted ways. Ada returned home, feeling excited and loved. She told her brothers and mother about Obiora and all he had said to her. Obiora had expressed his intention to marry her immediately if given the chance. As much as Ada also expressed her interest in him, her family gave their support. The next day, Obiora visited Ada's house to introduce himself and declare his intention to marry their daughter. Obiora proposed that he wanted to marry Ada within the next 5 days before returning to the city. Taken aback by his hasty decision, Ada's mother quickly asked, "But why the rush? You just met yesterday now, isn't it?" Obiora smiled and nodded. "Yes, Mama. I know we met just yesterday, but I know what I want, and when I see it, I go for it immediately without delay. I found my wife in your daughter, and I don't want to delay. I want to marry her so she can travel with me to the city," he replied. Ada's family was glad to have him and pleased with him, so they approved him and gave him a date to pay the bride price with his family. Obiora was excited that all his plans were not thwarted and that he would be returning to the city with a wife. While Obiora was leaving Ada's house that day, Tochi came by and saw him. She asked her best friend who Obiora was. Ada, beaming with excitement, narrated everything about Obiora and his sudden marriage plan to her. Tochi was extremely happy for her friend, but felt bad when she mentioned that she would be relocating to the city with her husband within the next few days. "So, you're going to leave me alone in this village?" she cried. "Oh, don't worry. You will soon relocate to the city too," Ada reassured her. In the evening, when it was time for Tochi to return home, Ada begged her to stay and spend the night. Although Tochi hadn't planned to sleep over, she eventually succumbed to her best friend's plea, knowing she would be leaving to the city soon. The next morning, after Tochi had her bath, she complained about not having an extra pair of underwear for the day. Ada offered her one of hers. That evening, Tochi returned home to her mother and narrated everything about Ada's engagement to her. "Mama, my best friend will be getting married and moving to the city in a few days, so Che. In fact, did you know Obiora is a very rich man? He's into importation in the city and has a big business. Che, Mama, he's rich and handsome. My friend is very lucky. I'm happy for her," she said, her voice filled with excitement. "Wow, that's good to know. I'm happy for Ada. She's really lucky. May God bless their union," her mother replied. They both rejoiced over Ada's good fortune. The next morning, Tochi brought out her dirty clothes to wash, including the underwear her best friend gave her. She spread them outside to dry and went about her day's chores. In the evening, when she went out to collect her clothes, she realized she couldn't find the underwear. She searched everywhere but couldn't find it, thinking perhaps the wind had blown it away. After a thorough search, she decided to let it go. On Friday, Obiora and his family began to prepare for the wedding scheduled for Saturday. They went to the market to get everything listed for the bride price. The next day, they walked majestically to Ada's house to pay her bride price. Upon their arrival, everything seemed fine and normal. Tochi and her mother were there to support her best friend, while a few extended family members and chiefs were also present to grace the occasion. When it was time to hand over Ada to Obiora, a sudden outburst occurred. Ada began to display signs of madness. She tried to run out of the house, but her brothers quickly grabbed her and locked her in a room. The whole event was thrown into disarray. Obiora felt deeply disappointed and could only wonder about the cause of her sudden madness. When he returned home that day, he felt somber and worried. Unable to sleep, his parents began to tell him to forget about Ada and find someone else with sanity to marry. "You should be thankful to God that her madness was exposed before you married her. What if you had married her and then she ran mad? You would have a mad wife to fear kwa. The gods forbid it," said his mother. "Brother, you are funny. You just met her and in 4 days you went to pay her bride price. You didn't even take time to know anything about her life and family background. Like Mama said, you should be happy their secrets were exposed before you married her. Who knows if madness runs in their blood before you start giving birth to mad children too. Be thankful. His brother added. Obiora sat there listening to all their rants, but was not bothered. He had a strong feeling that such an occurrence wasn't normal. He had planned to travel back to the city in a few days for a business deal, but felt an urge to stay back and delve into Ada's case. The news of Ada's sudden madness on her wedding day spread through the village, and villagers could only wonder why. Ada's family did everything within their capacity to help her regain her sanity. They brought in several herbalists who prepared concoctions for her, but she only grew worse. Her strength was doubled like that of 1,000 warriors. Ada became a shadow of herself, displaying various forms of madness and becoming stronger than imagined. Whenever her madness took hold, her brother struggled to subdue her, often having to tie her hands and legs for her safety. Despite trying numerous herbs, nothing worked. Tochi stayed with her best friend day and night, caring for her and praying for her recovery. Tochi's mother frequented Ada's house, sympathizing with them almost every day. She took Ada's mother to several herbalists and spiritual houses, but nothing worked. In one visit to a spiritualist, they were told that Ada would be fine and were given herbs to administer to her, but she remained insane. One day, Tochi's mother approached Obiora and suggested taking him to a powerful herbalist who could cure Ada of her madness. Without hesitation, Obiora eagerly followed her, ready to do anything to help Ada regain her sanity. When they arrived at the herbalist's house, Obiora was shocked by his experience. My son, Ada has been predestined to run mad on her wedding day. She's an Ogbanje, and her destiny doesn't want her to marry. If she eventually marries, her husband will become poor and not excel in life. So, if you have ears, listen attentively to what I have to tell you. The best thing you can do now is to marry Tochi, and then you will enjoy a good marriage, the herbalist advised. Obiora was shocked at the herbalist's words and advice. Tochi's mother also reacted with surprise. As they made their way back home, Obiora chose to remain quiet and did not utter a word. That night, Obiora couldn't sleep. He began thinking over all that the herbalist had said. Even if she has been predestined for madness on her wedding day, why did he suggest Tochi in her stead? Why suggest that I marry her best friend? Are there no other girls in the village? He thought. After much deep thought, he sensed foul play in the herbalist's words and vowed never to follow Mama Tochi to any herbalist or spiritualist again. He discarded the herbalist's advice and was determined to find a cure for Ada, although he didn't know how to go about it. He had a strong feeling that he would get through it. Many days passed and several herbs and cures were tried, but there was still no solution to Ada's case. Obiora felt bad that all his efforts had been unproductive. He got fed up and decided to leave the village to catch up with his business deal, planning to return afterward to deal with Ada's issue. He had to travel by water and catch a bus in another village back to the city. While in the canoe, the passengers cracked jokes and laughed loudly, but one of them, Chike, noticed Obiora wasn't laughing and appeared sad. Chike, who was traveling from Obiora's village back to his own after a successful trading trip, decided to approach him and ask what was wrong. Obiora shared Ada's story with him. Chike, upon listening to his story, smiled and assured him that all would be well if he suspended his journey and followed him to a powerful spiritualist in his village. Obiora felt at peace with him and decided to cancel his business appointment and follow Chike, all for the sake of Ada's well-being. When they arrived at Umuaku, Chike's village where Obiora was supposed to catch a bus to the city, he followed Chike to the spiritualist. Upon their arrival, the spiritualist welcomed them and requested they sit down. He made some incantations and then revealed a truth that seemed shocking to them. "My son, your wife-to-be Ada had innocently borrowed her underwear to her best friend, and that has caused her this madness," the spiritualist said. Obiora, feeling shocked at the revelation, exclaimed, "Ewo, Nai, you mean her best friend Tochi, who had been by her side throughout this madness period, is the cause of her problem? Ewo, Che, this girl has not left her side since she ran mad. She has been taking care of her," he exclaimed. "Mbanu, no," the old man replied. "Tochi is also innocent, but her mother is a culprit." Tochi had innocently narrated her friend's marriage plan to her mother, who seized the opportunity to hinder it. She took Ada's underwear and charmed her, which caused her madness. "Ewo!" Obiora exclaimed. "But this same woman was busy taking me from one spiritual house to another, acting like she really cared and wanted Ada to get well. No wonder one of the spiritualists advised me to leave Ada and marry Tochi. Oh, I see. It's indeed her handwork." "Yes, you're right," the spiritualist affirmed. She pre-informed all the spiritualists and herbalists to never heal Ada. She told all of them to lie to Ada's mother and continue giving her false hope while she paid them for their deceit. "Ewo, but Papa, please, what's the way forward now? How can you help me regain her sanity?" "That's a small thing to do," the spiritualist reassured. "I will give you something to use. Just ensure you use it accordingly and she will regain her sanity immediately." The old man gave Obiora a small stone wrapped in a red cloth and instructed him to throw it inside Tochi's mother's house. Obiora thanked the man and Chike. Eager to help Ada, he took the next canoe back to his village that night, despite the dangers of traveling at night. He arrived late, around 9 p.m., and went straight to Tochi's mother's house. Following the spiritualist's instructions, he threw the small stone inside the house through a window. Tochi's mother, who had been fast asleep, screamed loudly as she was jolted awake. She ran outside, alarming the neighbors. Neighbors came out to see Tochi's mother acting insane. Many tried to restrain her, but her strength was overwhelming. She began to confess, revealing how she had made Ada mad and convinced the spiritualist not to help her unless Obiora married Tochi. Meanwhile, at Ada's house, Ada woke up and saw Tochi sleeping beside her. She tried to tap her, realizing she was bound at the hands and feet. Curiously, she tapped Tochi and screamed. Tochi, thinking Ada was having another episode, tried to calm her but noticed Ada was calling her name repeatedly. Tochi, why am I tied? hand and foot. Why? Ada asked, tears streaming down her face. Tochi, sensing a change, rushed to call her brothers and mother. Ada called them by name, demanding to know why she was tied like a goat, ready for slaughter. They untied her immediately, realizing she had regained her sanity. They began to celebrate her recovery. At Tochi's house, while her mother continued confessing, Obiora, feeling irritated, ran to Ada's house to confirm her recovery. Finding them rejoicing, he joined in the celebration. The next day, news spread across the village. Tochi, Ada, and her family heard about Tochi's mother's confession. They felt betrayed and heartbroken. Ada's mother wondered how Tochi's mother had the conscience to take her to several spiritualists while knowing she was the one behind the issue. If anyone had told me Tochi's mother was behind all this, I would have fought the person and called them a liar. But because she confessed with her own mouth, I believe it. Whoa, this life, Ada's mother exclaimed in shock. Tochi, ashamed and disappointed in her mother, couldn't face the villagers due to the mockery awaiting her. Even at Ada's house, she felt uncomfortable, but Ada, being a good friend, tried to make her feel at ease. My dear friend, I understand how disappointed you may be feeling right now, but I want you to take your mind off it and feel free. After all, you stayed with me all through my downtime. You loved me and cared for me. I know your mother had disappointed you, but the deed has been done. Shake it off and never allow it to weigh you down. As you know, I love you no matter what, and my family loves you too, so feel free, my friend. Obiora, still full of fury, decided to take the matter to the palace. The king and the village elders looked into the matter and decreed that Tochi's mother be banished from the village. When Tochi heard of the verdict given to her mother, she felt like the ground should open and swallow her. She felt terribly ashamed of her mother. At night, she snuck out of Ada's house and went to her mother's. Getting home, she demanded her mother give her justifiable reason for her evil acts. Mama, how could you? How could you be this evil and cause my best friend to run mad? How could you? She asked, breaking down in tears. The mother replied, I was doing everything for you. I wanted you to marry too. At the expense of my best friend? How does being evil help me? Did I complain to you that I want Obiora to marry me? I thought you should be happy for my best friend and not destroy her. Yet, you went far and beyond, acting like a compassionate savior, taking her to several spiritualists, not knowing you were the evil behind all. What a shame. I am disappointed in you, Mama. See who I am fighting for is disappointed in me. You are such an ingrate, a kwesu. Her mother replied, not feeling sober. That evening, villagers surrounded her house and were ready to accompany her out of the village. Immediately Tochi saw the villagers, she snuck out of her house and ran to Ada's house for safety. She couldn't bear villagers looking at her and calling her several evil names. Tochi's mother, on realizing she has been banished from the village, began to cry and plead for forgiveness, but the angry villagers never considered her plea. They hurriedly grabbed her and pushed her out of the house, leading her out of the village. At Ada's house, Tochi apologized for her mother's wrongs and Ada's family, forgave and allowed her stay with them, while Obiora and Ada resumed their wedding preparations. By weekend, they had their wedding and traveled to the city. Ada was glad at all her husband's sacrifices for her. She knelt down and appreciated him. My husband, thank you so much for all you did. You ignored your business appointments and stayed with me all through my trial times. I'm sure your family would have told you to forget about me. After all, you barely knew me. Yet, you stood by me. Thank you so much. I will forever love you. It's nothing, my love. When you are in love, you will do anything and everything for your partner. That's why love is all about sacrifice. I love you dearly, my wife. They embraced each other and enjoyed their marriage together. Meanwhile, Tochi couldn't contain the villagers' mockery anymore. Since her best friend traveled to the city with her husband, she began to think of ways to avoid the villagers' gossip about her and her mother's evil deeds. She made plans to relocate to another village or even move to the city, but all her efforts to gather money were abortive. She tried to plant crops to generate money from the farm produce, but all the crops she planted were infested by pests. She had no choice but to continue living in the village, hoping for the best. She learned to live with the shame her mother had caused her, and a few months later, the villagers adjusted and desisted from mocking her and calling her names. A year later, Ada had a worrisome dream where she saw her best friend crying uncontrollably. Upon waking up, she knew Tochi must be facing some difficulties. The dream left Ada troubled, and she wondered how she could help her friend. Even when she tried to forget about the dream, her subconscious mind would replay it, causing her concern for Tochi. When she could no longer handle the thought all by herself, she decided to share the dream with her husband. Darling, I had this terrible dream some weeks ago where I saw Tochi, my best friend, weeping and begging for help. But I stood there looking at her, confused about what to do. What do you think the dream might represent? Obiora heaved a deep sigh, sensing that his wife might be thinking of bringing Tochi to the city and looking for a way to introduce the idea to him. Well, I feel she might be going through one or two hurdles in life, but seriously, I don't know what you should do. But if you are thinking about bringing her to our house, then you are mistaken because I won't accept that, Obiora replied, giving her a stern warning. Ada already understood her husband far more than he had explained. She thought of letting go of the idea, but all efforts were unproductive. Tochi's plight consumed her mind almost every day, and she began to think of a better way to help. She knew Tochi wasn't bad like her mother. She had been a good and loving friend. She stayed with me when I was going through my hardest time, so I should be there for her. I must find a way to help her, Ada said to herself reassuringly. The next weekend, she went to the village to visit her parents. It was her first time traveling back to the village since she moved to the city. Her family was excited to see her again. They were still in the midst of welcoming her when she hurriedly asked about Tochi and her well-being. Please, where's Tochi? How's she doing? She asked, her voice filled with concern. Your friend has been struggling. Life hasn't been easy for her. You should check up on her before you leave, her mother replied. I knew something wasn't right with her. I felt it, Ada responded. Ada didn't wait to eat or rest when she arrived. She hurriedly went to Tochi's house. On getting there, she knocked at the door several times but got no response. Then she tried to look through the window, only to see her best friend lying helplessly on the floor like a dead body. Ada screamed out loud, alerting the neighbors. She couldn't imagine the thought of losing her dear friend. Neighbors, upon hearing her loud scream, rushed to the scene and broke the door. When they entered, they found Tochi lying unconscious inside the house. They called her name several times but got no response. They even poured water on her to regain her consciousness, but Tochi wasn't responsive. They hurriedly beckoned the village herbalist to check on her. After many attempts and worries with the herbalist's intervention, Tochi slowly regained consciousness. "You are lucky to have her back. Her spirit was long gone. Thank the gods we have her back," the herbalist remarked. The herbalist then prepared several herbs for her to use for a total recovery. Ada appreciated all those who came to her rescue. When they returned to their house and were left alone, she began to question her friend about what had happened. Tochi revealed that she was fed up and had lost hope of living. "After my mother was banished and you traveled to the city, I tried everything within my power to get money and leave this village because the mockery and pain were too much for me to bear. But unfortunately, my efforts were fruitless. At a point, I couldn't even feed anymore. Ada, I was in dear pain and had no one to call on." Tochi narrated her story, sobbing profusely. Ada felt pity for her, but was glad she came back home and was able to rescue her. Yet, she was confused about how to help her best friend. She knew her husband didn't want Tochi to come stay with them, but Ada couldn't imagine leaving her friend in the village. She knew Tochi needed a change of environment to start healing completely. Ada stayed a few days in the village, and when she was about to leave, she struggled with the thought of taking Tochi along with her to the city. After many internal battles, she decided to take her along. But throughout the journey, Ada was uneasy, battling with the thoughts of how her husband would react to taking in Tochi against his wishes. Finally, when they arrived at the city, fear enveloped Ada as she approached her house. She was scared of how her husband would react. Tochi, who had noticed her friend's anxiety since the beginning of their journey, decided to ask her, "My friend, what's wrong? I've noticed you haven't been yourself since we started our journey. What's wrong?" "You won't understand, Tochi. I didn't take permission from my husband and I'm afraid because I don't know how he will take this," Ada replied. "I understand you, Ada. Maybe I shouldn't go in with you then. Don't you have another place where I could stay for the meantime until you get permission from your husband?" "Seriously, I don't have any other place. Would you mind staying inside my shop just for the night until I figure something out? Hotel would have been the best option, but I don't have enough money to lodge you now." "I understand, friend. Thank you so much for your sacrifices. Let me stay in your shop then." Ada took Tochi to her shop where she sold groceries. When she returned home, her husband was smart enough to know that something wasn't right. "What's wrong with you? You just returned from the village. You should be excited. Why are you trembling like someone who has done something grievous?" Ada could no longer hide the issue from her husband. She explained everything that happened in the village and how she brought Tochi to the city but couldn't bring her into their house as he had warned her. "So, where is she now?" he asked. "She's inside my shop." "What? How could you put her inside your shop?" Ada and her husband went to the shop and brought Tochi to their house. That night, Ada went on her knees and thanked her husband for his kind gesture. The next day, Obiora had compassion for Tochi and felt an urge to help her settle down in the city. He called his wife and explained his plan to her. Ada was over the moon to hear Obiora's promise to help Tochi get accommodation in the city and also find her a job. Within a month, Obiora fulfilled his promise. He got Tochi a mini apartment and a job at a big supermarket. Tochi was grateful for all that Ada and Obiora did for her and gradually began to heal from her past. living a good life. She remained appreciative to her friend and her husband, and they lived like family in the city. Tochi took Ada and Obiora as her only family, and they maintained a strong bond. Her work went well, and her boss, Ejike, couldn't take his eyes off her. Ejike was Obiora's friend and had agreed to take in Tochi when Obiora pleaded with him. Observing Tochi's good conduct at his supermarket, Ejike was impressed by her modesty, hard work, smartness, and loyalty. He fell in love with her, and 2 years later, Ejike married Tochi. Tochi and Ada remained the best of friends, their bond even stronger than it had been in the village. Their husbands were pleased with them and their submissiveness, and they all lived happily ever after as one big family. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please like, comment, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories than these. Click the notification button to get notified when we drop another interesting story. Thank you so much for watching. So we see in the next video. Bye.